Hi, I'm JC. Welcome to the Forbidden Cities, a Keeper of the Lost Cities podcast. A podcast where Sydney and I talk about Keeper of the Lost Cities books, theories, characters, ships, and more. Welcome to episode 24 of the Forbidden Cities podcast, which I had to look up, as always.
I guess this will be considered our Stellarlune episode.
Yes.
Whether it's part 1 or part 2 remains to be seen.
Yeah, we don't know yet if this is going to have to be 2 parts or if this is just going to be our single Stellarlune episode. But welcome to the episode in which we start discussing Stellarlune.
Yay!
I'm so excited. It's been a little bit. It's been a couple years, but...
True.
So, before we jump into that, we just want to give, shed some light on what's going on. So, Sydney, where are you?
I am currently in my university library study room because it's been over a week since Helene hit.
Yeah.
We still don't have Wi-Fi like pretty much anywhere. My mom can't even work where she normally works because there's no Wi-Fi in the whole town.
Yeah.
We have power. Most of us have power. It took about a week to get that up.
Goodness.
Well, for some people, it depends. But anyway, we have power. We do not have Wi-Fi. This is the only place I know of to go to that has Wi-Fi, but it's great because I've got a private room and everything.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a fun week. School canceled. So
Oh, wow.
I have been very productive, and I got to read Stellarlune and pay a lot of attention. And a tree fell on our house. So that was fun.
So,
but
like,
it's gone now.
How much of your house is messed up because of that?
Okay, it's really just the roof, and there's a hole in my sister's room.
Oh, well, that's
so
fun.
There's a tarp over the house right now.
Okay.
She had to come home because her school was also canceled. And she couldn't even sleep in her room.
Oh, that stinks.
So, yeah, a branch went straight through.
Oh, goodness.
It was pretty funny, though. Like, this tree was humongous. I walked outside. I was like, why is it dark? Looked up, and it's, like, a humongous tree right just above my front porch. I was like, oh, that's why it's dark, because we've got a huge tree on there.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
was
so loud.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
But we were very lucky. There are people not too far from us who got hit really badly. So.
Yeah, and I'm, like, shocked that, I mean, you still have a lot of people with no power, like, a lot longer than my parents, because my parents are a little bit closer to the main path of the hurricane, like, further to that direction, so I was surprised that you guys have waited on power so much longer. That stinks.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's so sad, some of the towns, though, like,
yeah.
Places that were wiped out are some of my favorite places.
I know. I was looking at the places in North Carolina, and, like, I was a little bit nervous, too. Like, I know people up there, and, yeah. So, some people in the city my family live in actually have gotten really serious injuries. They don't know anyone who's died, but I have a lot of family in Georgia, and a lot of them just lost their houses completely. And my grandma's there, too. She, like, her shed is gone. My uncle is, like, paralyzed now. Like, so not so fun. So my great uncle, not my mom's brother, but yeah. He got hit in the head with a tree that fell on his house.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so.
Oh, my goodness.
Just a lot of crazy stuff. And,
yeah,
like, so many people, lost everything. It's really crazy. So anyways, I was really lucky down here. I mean, I mentioned in the last episode I live on the coast, so I'm happy that I was very blessed. I'm okay. It didn't even bother me, but very scary, very sad for the upstate area.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm so glad that we could still record, that we could figure out a way to release this in early October, technically. It is still early October, so. Yeah. I'm just at my apartment. I'm nowhere special. I've been fine. So where do we want to start, Sydney?
Okay, so I put together a very vague outline.
It's a pretty good outline.
To go through.
Yeah.
I think so too, except for my comments. And I also also split it up into days, which is going to be fun to look
Yeah,
at.
I'm
See what all
actually really
happens in one
excited about
day.
that. Like, yeah, the
Yeah.
timeline of exactly how long these chapters last. Because I
Hmm.
always get so, like, I don't know, I'll get to like a certain page and they'll be like, it had been 3 days since this happened. And I was like,
Hmm.
really? Like, it's been the whole book.
Yep. Yep.
Which we will
Hmm.
discuss.
Hmm.
Okay, so what is your first note? Let me also pull up mine while you're answering that
Okay.
question.
So my very first note is to discuss how different reading is versus listening. So this
Oh.
is my first time listening to a keeper book ever
Did you
because
listen to the whole thing?
I did. I did
Wow.
not read like sit down to read any of it. I've listened to the
Wow.
whole thing. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
And I never listened before because
Mm-hmm.
gen- I strongly dislike the voice of the last um
Yeah.
the last audiobook narrator.
Yeah.
However, this one was like the audible one for Stellarlune. I think it's the only one you can get, and it was really good. Um,
I
I
liked
I
it, yeah.
I really liked it, and I was just struck by how what am I trying to say here? How different my experience was listening.
Mm-hmm.
It made it. I've always engrossed in the keeper books,
Mm-hmm.
but specifically listening to it, I was very engrossed. I
That's so
there was
cool.
one moment when I was reading when Adeline like comes in with snacks and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh good, I'm hungry." Wait. Yeah. So I just want to say I enjoyed that.
That's
Um
so cool.
and then I was so sad when it ended, and I'm always sad when it ends because of that like roller coaster of emotions you
Yeah.
go on.
Yeah.
But even though I'd read this book before, first of all, I didn't remember a lot of it. Second,
No.
it was just so fresh hearing it read aloud, and I was so
Yeah.
immersed that I was so sad. Highly recommend.
That's
Really
so
good
cool.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah. I listened to like probably page 600-ish and then I felt like it was too slow and so I switched to reading and read the rest of it cuz I was like
I
I
think
need to move faster.
I had it on at least 1.5
Yeah.
to 2 the whole time.
Yeah.
2 speed.
It's the way to
Yeah.
do it. It
Yep.
brings it from like 30 hours of listening to like
Yep.
20.
I will say though, another thing I noticed while listening, um, I had never paid. I know people say that a lot of Keeper is people just talking back and forth about what they're
Yeah.
gonna do. I've
Yeah.
heard that criticism before, but I guess because I read it so quickly, it's never bothered me.
Right.
However, I really understand that now after
I think,
listening.
yeah. I was gonna say, I think that's part of the reason that I was like, forget this, I'm reading it. Because there were like
Hmm.
pieces that I was like, if I listen to this, I'm gonna stop listening. But if I skim it, I'm gonna keep reading. So,
Especially in the beginning, Ro, I always read her so quickly that I'm like, okay, haha,
yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
But she talks a lot in
She
the
does.
beginning, and I was like, can we move on? It's too funny. But like, speed it up,
But
talk
like,
faster, Ro,
yeah. Say it in less
because she
words.
just interjects
All the
every five
time. Oh my
seconds.
goodness.
Yeah,
And I get it. I'm with her,
hmm,
but also
yeah, it's
it's a
realistic.
lot. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
which
all
is
right.
part of what makes it so um immersive.
Yeah, it does
Yeah,
feel very realistic. Like it's not
yeah,
cutting down for the sake of the book. It feels more
hmm,
like a real conversation would go.
yeah.
Like in real life, people aren't like, let's speed it through for the plot.
Totally. And it makes me think about how Shannon has a background in film
Yeah,
specifically
you're
and script
right.
writing.
Yes,
It comes across really
it
strongly.
does.
Okay.
And the descriptions, oh my goodness. Yeah.
Hmm.
I've noticed that a lot whenever I was listening to the audiobook as well, like the way that things are described. It's enough to like I don't know. It is very reminiscent of a script like
Yeah.
yeah.
Totally. Yep. Okay. So the next, you have anything else to say before we jump in?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. So first thing on my outline, day one. Sophie talks to Grady about Keith.
Mhm.
So by this I meant she talks to Grady about when Keith being gone.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking to see if I have any notes specifically about that, and you too.
I don't
Do you
have
have
any
any
notes
notes?
until like later on. I don't know
Okay.
why, but I like don't have any real notes
Yeah,
until around page
I
40.
don't think I do. I don't have any. Oh wait. I do have one on page
Ooh.
3.
Okay.
What? Unless that was an accident.
Also, the Kindle version, like whenever it says pages at the bottom, that does match up to the book because there are sometimes that it will say page 5, 2 pages in a row. Yeah,
Okay. That's nice. That's good to know.
it is very nice.
I think I accidentally highlighted this. I don't think that's a real
Oh.
note. So my notes don't start until page 45, which is
Oh.
chapter 16.
Yeah, mine is 41. There we go.
Oh.
So what else happens on day 1 then? So Sophie talks to Grady about Keith leaving, which is relevant because Grady specifically talked to Keith and Unlocked before he left, which I had to go back and this was this is you mentioned this, but reading Stellarlune this time was honestly like reading it for the first time. I'm going to talk about this later in depth, but I was literally sometimes just like face in my hands, like open mouth, like how did I not remember this at all? Like me.
Yes.
We'll get to that, but like
Totally.
holy cow.
What on earth was going on in our lives to where we read
I actually
Stellarlune,
I
talked
did
about it, and then discarded it.
I did have a major life problem in the fall of 22, but like I know why I forgot, but also like it's crazy to me that I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why I forgot. Genuinely. It's just gone.
It's just been time.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens after Sophie and Keith and Grady all converse? Or Sophie and Grady about Keith.
Sorry, I'm finding where we are so that I can flip through and
Oh, she goes to talk to Ro.
Yes. So Sophie goes to Owen's to find Ro. Ro is isn't she like paralyzed or something?
I think it's worn off by now, if I'm not remembering wrong.
I think it's mostly
Yeah, they're like about to kill each other, Ellen and Ro.
Yep. Oh, I should mention these numbers are by chapter. So chapter 2, Sophie goes to Ellen's to find Ro. Then Ro mentions Dex, and so she hails Dex.
It's so like I don't know, it's very like she goes here, and then they talk about this person, and so she goes here, and then she goes. She's very spur of the moment. Like honestly, Ro mentions if that's me and Ro, Keith is gone, and we're like, oh, we can go talk to Ro. I'd be like, actually, I'm gonna take a couple of mental health days. I'll talk to Ro on Tuesday. Like, I'm not doing all of this in one day.
That's a good point.
I'm not talking to anyone about Keith for at least 3 days. I need to cry.
There's so much. Just goes from one person to another, which also shows.
Can you repeat that? Sorry, it like got fuzzy for just a second. Can you say that again?
Oh, no problem. Yeah, I said there's so much of this where Sophie goes from one person to another, like back.
Yeah, immediately.
Yep, and it shows how, I guess, how decisive she is in this.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Like with the storehouse thing happening just before this.
Yeah, especially like later on when she goes to demand from Forkle, which
we'll
get there.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I was stunned.
Yep. Yeah, it was great. Okay, so Sophie goes to Grady, then Elwyn, then she calls Dex. Mm-hmm. And Dex, I don't think tells her everything, but he tells her enough that she's like, okay, now we're going to Cassius.
Yeah.
So that is chapter 3. Oh.
And by the way, on page 22, I know that we mentioned like that Sophie counts things, and I took notes, so I'm going to just mention that at the bottom of page 22, Sophie counted every second. By 419, Dex had rearranged the wires a zillion different ways. So that's on page 24, 22 to 24.
Sorry, I gotta turn the light back on because it turned off because of the timer.
Oh no. But anyways.
Okay.
Yes, so that's I'm just going to interject randomly. That's one time that she's counting things randomly.
Okay.
Although we have things to say about all of those theories, so that's going to be on a different episode.
Okay. Okay, so she calls Dex, then she goes to Cassius, and we have Cassius's many memories.
Ooh, pause. We did kind of just gloss over on page 26 while she's talking to Dex that he reveals that his brother's like talentless. Mm-hmm. So that does happen in this chapter, which I forgot. So on page 27 to 28 is whenever we find out that like Keith had touched their hands, 2 of them manifested and 1 of them didn't. So this connects Keith's ability to being able to bring out potential, which is an interesting, I don't know, an
Okay,
interesting
wait.
parallel.
Yeah.
Because,
And also on page, oh, sorry, you go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, because we've talked about Tarek's ability, like to sense
Mm-hmm.
potential, being strange and suspicious. And
Yep.
so this is almost like a mirror, like not mirror, but like an opposite of that, like bringing out the
Mm-hmm.
potential.
Yeah, and I was gonna point out at the bottom of page 28 how
Mm-hmm.
it points out that it's like descrying,
Really?
which
Oh,
is kind
oh.
of interesting for Sophie to say. Yeah, so I'll read out loud. Bottom of page 28. Sophie shrugged. I can see how Keith might have a ton of people asking him what their ability is going to be.
Oh.
Kind of like what happened to Counselor Tarek with his descrying. But Tarek just stopped doing readings,
Mm-hmm.
which is.
Well, descrying only measures someone's potential, abilities define us for the rest of our lives. And this is where we start getting the hints of like, and I know it's like kind of been a theme in this series, but I feel like this book is where it did become very like obvious that like Rose says right here, like that's where you elves lose me, and Sophie's like, yeah, me too. Like this is starting to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Sophie's supposed to be the one who comes in and sees these specific social problems in the lost cities and says like, oh hey, you shouldn't like just like think people are trash because they don't have abilities and because they're a bad match and stuff like that. So this
Yeah,
this
yeah.
book and even not unlocked Legacy, where she finds out she's
Mm-hmm.
unmatchable, is where those themes start to be really strong. So I have predictions about where that could
Nice.
go, but yeah,
Ooh, you do? Okay.
vague predictions. Like,
Okay.
and it feels obvious, but we'll get to that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and then we'll also get to Kenrick having problems with
Yes, we'll get to
the
that.
world,
That's
which
when
is
I'm planning to
super
get to
interesting.
it.
Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, I feel like we should go a little slower because we are already glossing over stuff. I just don't.
Yeah.
I did a vague outline, so we do need to be checking as we go each
Hmm.
chapter. I'm just gonna flip through.
We're getting the hang
Okay.
of this again.
Yes. Yes. It's been a while since we've done a full book thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think either of us took as detailed notes as we would like. So
Not exactly, but you
it's
know,
fine.
this is how I did college. I figure it out while I'm talking. I'm good at coming up with stuff.
True. True.
It doesn't matter now. I've graduated. I can say that. They can't take it back now.
Yeah, you never know. Just kidding. Okay. Chapter 3. I'm flipping through. So we have Keith, not Keith, sorry. Ro, Cassius, Sophie. Why is Lord Cassius just such a I don't know the right word for him.
Mm.
Problem.
He's
Difficult.
so he's
Uh,
so Gabriel Agrest. It like I can't. I can't.
mhm.
Okay, I wanted to interject around like before we like get deep into Cassius because I feel like it's gonna come up in this chapter a lot. But I do
Okay.
feel like okay, so Gisella's plan for Keith because I want to like make sure I'm remembering this perfectly. So Keith's ability, he can make people like feel things, like feel numb, feel I don't know, stifled, feel bored, like basically inflicting, but like with emotions, not pain, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I feel bad because that was unlocked and I didn't look back at unlocked and
I
legacy very
I
much.
remember that scene
Okay.
pretty well because it involved Orly. So, we're gonna go with that. And then
So wait,
Keith,
he can make people feel things?
yeah. So he accidentally numbed out the room right before Orly and
Yes,
Alina
yes,
walked
that's
in, and
right.
Orly was like, "Whoa,
Okay.
it felt empty. That was weird." But that's the
Okay, okay,
same
that's right.
feeling that they described Elysian as having, which is interesting. But we'll get back to that.
Oh.
Like an empty, like it was almost precisely. So when we do get to Elysian, or when we get to Orly and Kenrick in the Forgotten Memory, I'll pull up the unlocked passage where Orly describes the room and compare
Okay.
those because I
Okay,
think that'll be
awesome.
interesting.
Cool.
But
Because I have no like formed theories right now. I'm just
yeah,
forming them as we go.
yeah, me
I
too.
just am along for the ride right now.
What I'm trying to figure out is what exactly is Gisella's purpose with Keith because
Mm-hmm.
like there's obviously something and the Never Seen
Something
in
with
Black Swan
humans.
they both have problems with the matchmaking system, with the talentless, the treatment of the talentless, with the emphasis of ability over skill, which Orly has specifically said is part of the reason. I mean, I assume it's connected to her reason for joining the Black Swan, but she has said, like, oh, I want to use my telekinesis more because I feel like we emphasize abilities too much. So there's
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of things like that both of them have problems with. But what I'm trying to figure out is, we know Sophie was the Black Swan solution. We know Keith is the Never Seen solution, or at least Gisella's branch. Who knows what Finton and all of them want. But
See,
what I'm
that's
trying
what
to
I'm
figure out,
thinking.
yeah,
Okay, so yeah, we should talk about this as we go, but
mm-hmm,
the whole against matchmaking, against talentless thing, I'm not actually sure if that's Gisella's branch or if she was just going along with that for a while.
mm-hmm. Oh,
To
that's true.
me, Gisella's branch seems, I think we talked about in our Stellarlune theory episode, how my only real, and it's very vague theory, is that she's in some way, it's like Fenton's criterion
Mm-hmm. Well, Fenton
selecting,
hates.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
Fenton has something to do with the
Yeah, Fenton
humans.
hates humans.
Yeah, I don't
I don't
know.
know. I don't
I
know.
don't know if her, cause her, her and Fenton split in Never
Mm-hmm.
Seen. So I
Yeah.
know that he's obsessed with humans, and she's. I mean, clearly, at least something with her has to do with abilities, because Keith is supposed to make people manifest,
Yeah, and she does
bringing
validate
out
Rainey.
potential. That's what that is.
Yeah. And it says later she validates Rainey's feelings about
Okay,
the Elven world. So
which
I
could be
guess in
manipulation, but
some,
could be
yeah.
because she is very like display of power.
Mm-hmm.
All of that.
Yeah. I feel like she just thinks the counselors are stupid, and so
So
everything
she just wants, maybe
related to them
her
is
thing is
stupid.
just like she just thinks that she would do a better job at running the lost cities, and so she's just like, I'll be in charge. Keith can make people loyal. Wait, yes,
Yeah.
because Keith can make people basically do anything. Like he's almost a mesmer, so
Mm-hmm.
th- she can use him to control people, and she's always been
And her
about
whole
trying to break him
emphasis
and
is
control
on
him,
that Stellarlune is power.
and that still
She's all about power.
and she wants to bring out potential, which is what his. She's always talked about bringing out potential.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that
Okay.
from Nightfall, but I don't remember why exactly. So I would just want to get these things out. So I'm like, I have. I mean, what did I say? I want to write something down. I had said my theory earlier. I have a working theory about, oh, the direction that things are going to go with the talent list and the matchmaking and all of that. Okay.
Mm.
And
Okay.
exactly how certain things in this book relate to that, because I'm very
Mm.
interested in this.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. So I was gonna say we're on chapter 4, which is gonna be a Cassius and Gisela memory,
Oh,
which
chapter 3 and
could relate
4ish.
to
Yeah,
this.
hold on.
Yeah.
Let me
I think
skim
it's
3
really
too.
starts. It starts chapter 4.
Okay.
3 is just her going to Lord Cassius. So chapter 4, page 48. Um, I'm gonna say their. I'm gonna read their conversation,
Okay.
skimming over everything it says, and just read what they say to each other.
Okay.
Okay. So Gisela says, "Why are you asking so many questions about Keith's empathy?" Oh no, sorry, Cassius. Cassius says, "Why are you asking so many questions about Keith's empathy?" "Why are you surprised?" Lady Gisela countered. "Our son is a reflection of us. I want to make sure he's impressive, don't you?" "Of course." "There's something you're not telling me. I feel a strange tension radiating from you. Some sort of expectation." "Yes, I expect our son to be a powerful empath like his father." "Then
Hmm.
why did I feel the same tension when you had him tested to see if he would be a conjurer?" Okay, so that's
Mm.
about her being a conjurer.
Which this wasn't officially
Is.
revealed. Yeah, but like we didn't
Yeah.
technically know that until this book.
Yes. Yeah.
Which, okay, pause. Conjure. This reminded me of something weird.
Mm-hmm.
Because okay, later in the book, Dex and Sophie tell Orly that she's a conjurer, and Orly adds it to her mind map, whatever. Which
Mm-hmm.
reminded me of the fact that we once thought Orly was a conjurer when she conjured Kenrick's catch to
Mm.
give to Sophie, and we were like, oh, maybe she's not, because we didn't realize you could just tuck caches in the void. But then in Lodestar, she makes Mr. Forkles and Brant's body disappear from Luminaria rubble before the guards get there. That, I don't know. Am I missing something? Someone please tell me if I'm missing something, because I can't work out how she did that. But that rabbit trail reminded me
Huh.
when you said conjurer.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if a
Okay,
lot of people
question.
hide being conjurers.
This might be a silly question, but if Orly can do that, we know for sure that Gisela is a conjurer, right? And she can
Yes.
just try
Yeah.
something. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Are you suggesting that they're the same person?
No, no,
Okay, I
no.
was like, that's a really far
No.
stretch.
I'm suggesting I kind of forgot that someone can have something tied to them in the void and not be a conjurer.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
was suggesting maybe Gisela did that, but no, she's a conjurer. Okay, let me say though, this is good because this is something they're right about. They
Yes.
chapter 4, Sophie says, "Oh, she's a conjurer." Boom, she's a conjurer, we find out, which I hadn't really
Yes.
connected. She's right, which is
Which
a win.
is progress, yes.
Yes.
From like
If
knowing
we
nothing
find
about
out,
anyone.
okay, my main thought from this whole book is Forkle is driving me nuts. And
I
we will
remember
get
this.
in
Cindy would
we
literally text me like every few hours, like he's making me so mad, JC. He's
we
shooting down every good
will
idea.
get into this. I need to see if he denies her being a conjurer because if he does, I'm gonna be mad. Like, does he ever say, "Oh no, Sophie, she's not a
I
conjurer.
don't
You don't
know, but
know
I wouldn't be
anything about her."
surprised.
Same. Anyway,
Oh my goodness.
okay, so conjurer. I'm looking for. Oh, here we go. Here's the potential speech. Page 51. Um, she starts rambling about stars and moon cycles and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then she says, many, many things, but a large part is making sure our sun reaches its full potential
There it
in a
is.
way that you and I will never be able to.
Potential.
I've developed a very specific process. I just need to know if it's having any effect. The first step already happened, though you don't remember that part, etc., etc. Okay, then they come up. Oh, the third step to Stellarlune, and Sophie freaks out because she's like, "Huh? There's a third step? Oh my gosh!" And then that's where we get the seeds of her later wanting to get the Stellarlune
Yeah.
so that she can help Keith.
And of course the third step is going to be the end of this book, so we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which
Well,
I'm just
not
now
the end
putting
of.
together like live, but that's okay.
Well, the beginning of the next book.
Well, yeah,
Right?
obviously, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
going to be
Okay.
introduced in the end of this book. I assume that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Oh wait, we're silly.
What?
It's confirmed on page 54 that she's a conjurer.
There we go.
Ah.
I watch Mr. Forkle still be like, nah. You're stupid and also
Okay.
an idiot.
I forgot that it was like totally confirmed until before the end.
Oh yeah, I knew it was confirmed later because she
Mm-hmm.
conjures the explosive to destroy Mr. Forkle's hideout where he revealed that he had a twin in Nightfall. Like
No,
I know that he
wait,
said
because
she
I want to say Forkle does argue because Sophie's like, well, what if Gisela conjured something? And he's like, no.
No way. Okay, that's so funny.
We'll run into
We'll
it.
get to it, yeah.
Okay. Um.
Yeah, so it is confirmed. There on the bottom of page 52. Gisela laughed. I'm actually impressed you started to suspect I'm a conjurer. I've been so careful. That's crazy. Sometimes it's better to be
Oh,
underestimated. Ooh.
we have different page numbers.
It's so mine says page 54, but it's actually pages 53 and 54. I've just shrunk the font super small.
Okay, awesome.
So it's probably like 53ish. Yeah. It's in the realm.
Also, I can't believe she's just wiping her husband's memories every
Yeah.
book.
Well, Kendrick does that too,
Well,
but we'll talk about that later.
it's a little different. A little, yeah, it's
I
a
have
little
feelings, and they're not happy.
Okay.
We'll get to it.
Okay, so then Cassie's to Sophie talk in chapter 5 in his mind. And he basically convinces her to leave Keith alone, which is wild.
Yeah.
He's better off where he is. He can handle himself.
Which, like, he's not a particularly caring person. Why do we listen to him?
Yeah. I mean, he's right, but it's interesting.
He is right, technically. Well, we didn't know the whole time that they could track Keith, so he's also kind of wrong. And I guess we'll find out on December 3rd if he was right or not, because we don't know what happened to Keith, and he seemed kind of numb when we got him back, so
Yep.
we'll find out.
Yeah, that's true.
Shannon says it's very
Also,
important.
I was thinking as I was reading the end, had they just removed the shadow flux and then let Keith loose in the lost cities, we might could avoid everything. If Keith hadn't gone back with Sophie to go to Elysian, he would just be in the lost cities, untrackable.
I mean the
And
Forbidden
Gisela would
Cities.
have
Just
yeah,
chilling.
sorry, yes, Forbidden Cities, cities, untrackable, and Gisela would get her power or whatever, and it's all gonna go down, and he would just be still there.
It's very
So,
convenient for the plot that he had to go to Elysian.
yes, yes, very, yes. And that he decided to go back with Sophie.
Yeah,
Why did he
that
do
he,
that? After
well,
all of this.
well, we know why. Because chapter
Well,
42 had to happen.
I know, but like,
Are you complaining about this after all we've
I'm
been
not.
through?
I'm complaining
Through
about
all
the
these
logical,
years?
about the logistics of bringing Keith back to Lost Cities. I'm not complaining about well, I mean, we'll see what happens in the next.
Yeah, we'll see. We won't find out this year.
No. Eh. Now I'm sad. We won't find out.
No, we won't, but we'll get to see Keith's perspective of chapter 42. So can we be mad? I don't know.
He better give me some useful information.
Dude, but
he better.
I have words
But
to say when
Shannon
I do get to
promised.
chapter 42. It was actually really cute.
Yay. Okay. Okay, so chapter 6, then
Okay.
Rose, like, we're not going after Keith, and Sophie's like, yeah, I guess not. Which is kind of crazy to me that she went from freaking out to totally fine and then just moves on, but, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then she sticks the alicorns on Keith, which is what I have written down. And then, doesn't she say something cute at the end of this? No, it's another chapter with that.
Yeah.
And then Ro keeps teasing her, and it's pretty funny.
Oh my goodness. Ro and Sophie's interactions in this part were really funny. And I'm so glad that there's finally someone like Ro to be like, yeah, Sophie, you kind of like him, don't you? Because I needed there to be a person like that. Like, Morella was kind of doing that from the beginning, but Ro was just, oh, she's so much better at it. It's great.
And Adeline.
Yes!
Adeline later, but she's such a foster Keith shipper.
She
I
is.
love it.
Also, pause, so is Orly. Let's just stick that in there for...
That's
I
true.
I love it. I love how many of these people, like Forkle too, they're just like subtly like, so like, how's Keith? Where is he? What's he doing? How are you guys?
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. Okay, so then chapter 7. Sorry, these are pretty short chapters. I'm just skipping pretty quick.
I'm skimming too to be sure we don't miss anything.
Yep. She calls Amy.
Yes,
Amy
which I
thinks,
totally
like,
forgot
no.
she had an imparter. Like, when did this happen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Nightfall. End of Nightfall. Yeah.
Yeah, Nightfall. That makes sense. Nightfall and Flashback are the fuzziest out of the whole series.
Interesting. And Nightfall's clear for me, but Flashback, I got no clue.
I know
No
pieces.
clue.
I know in the beginning there's the trial with like Alvar's trial, and I know that most of it is Fitz hating Alvar, and the ending is the fever dream with the
dream?
troll hive.
Yeah.
And Umber getting crushed by a door. Which I have sealed in my mind as the Home Depot. And I've sealed it in my mind as the Home Depot door from the meme I made. And I thought... So it's just like 76 by 88 inch Home Depot. Oh my goodness. Sorry. So, yes, we were going to mention
Literally,
Sydney.
please.
If Sydney starts laughing, she will cough because bronchitis. And I'm
Still here. It
Yeah.
was the last episode.
that's
too.
true. Oh my goodness, you've been sick forever.
Yeah.
Well, if you need
Yeah,
me to
I
pause
should
the
go back
recording.
to the doctor, but no, it's
Yeah.
just when I laugh too hard. I don't even know what you were saying.
I was just
With the
saying.
whole-
I was just saying flashback. There's like 3 moments for me. There's the trial in the beginning. There's Fitz hating Alvar, and I guess at some point Fitz and Sophie almost kiss, and then there's the ending with Umber and the trolls, and that's what I got for you. That's
That
it.
was wild.
Oh, the hospital. Oh, and there's a hospital in
Oh
there.
yeah.
Most of it.
That was also wild.
Oh
That
my
was
goodness.
torture.
That
That
was
was
kind of
Foster's
scary.
bad.
Well, yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole book was
Yeah.
just. It was. Listen, it's Keeper, so can I complain? But also, there was no Keef. There wasn't even Orly, except in the first chapter. There was no Ro yet. Like, it was misery.
There was no progress on the plot.
Right.
But it's okay, Shannon. We love you.
It's okay.
Okay.
We're still here.
We're still here. Okay.
It did make, let me just devil's advocate, like you actually came up with this theory whenever it
Yes.
happened, is like it did have to happen for us to
It did.
say, okay, Fitz and Sophie can't be a thing, like with their whole cognates, like
Oh yeah.
it won't work. So that was important.
Yeah.
But
Yes. The plot of the book drives me crazier than the actual relationship
yeah,
dynamics because
yeah.
the relationship dynamics did have to happen.
But I'm here for the relationship dynamics, so I'm fine.
Yeah.
It's true.
Okay.
What
So
else
then we have
happened?
this is basically still Sophie freaking out about Keith, and then we move on. She learns about the islands disappearing, which I think is the whole reason she calls Amy in Shannon's brain.
Oh.
Like, oh, well, I'll have her check Amy for Keith. Also, Amy can tell her about the
Yeah.
islands that disappear.
Yeah. And I was dying, by the way, on page 79-ish, whenever Ro was like, yeah, and Amy was like, have you dated any of them? Like, I don't know how you haven't. And Ro was like, she tried with Fitzy, but then she realized he was too boring, so they broke up. Like, I love that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This is... That's the kind of stuff that I like saying.
Yes.
I strive to be that person.
Yes. Yep. Oh, this is where okay, at the end of chapter 7. Are we on 7? Yeah, we are on 7. She transmits to Keith, says, please be safe, Keith. Please be smart, and please come back as soon as you can.
That's adorable. Also, the missing islands, did we ever find out about that? I feel like we did, and I can't remember.
Yeah. Gisela stole them to give to the trolls.
Right.
Stop, don't make me laugh. I'm gonna call me.
Was she just like, why did she steal them?
To give to the trolls, sir.
Not why, how?
Oh, with a tsunami. Wait.
Oh, yeah, because they have,
But they don't.
They have the guster.
Oh, okay. I was like, they don't have Lynn. How?
Yeah, I think it's the guster. I think we said that. Like, not we, but the book.
Okay, we'll check.
We'll double check on the way, but
Write
yeah.
that down.
I am writing it, actually.
Awesome. Okay. So chapter 8, I'm trying to get through the unimportant stuff. Iggy gets dyed again, and Sophie's kind of sad because he was Keith's color for like 2 seconds, and then Ro dyed him. Which, come on, Ro. Like, Keith just dyed him, what, ice blue, I want to say? And then
we have to. It's just part of the thing now. We've got to vote on it on the Instagram. It's got to happen. It's a tradition.
I know. But like, it was Keith's I was sad with Sophie. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Then they have a random conversation about Valen.
Valen? Oh, you're so right.
So
oh my goodness.
Sophie blinked. She'd completely forgotten about Valen and his awkward midterms gift. And then Ro teases her about Love Valen being the signature on the card.
Dude.
And then she says she'd been banished for a while, almost died a bunch of times, so keeping up with the other kids at Foxfire had been kind of a challenge. So I thought that was totally going to be like a reintroduction of Valen somehow. I guess he does have a cameo later.
A cameo?
She's like, yeah, my friend.
Because she's, mostly hanging out with Jinsey.
Yeah, but I thought that was so funny and random. I was like, let's bring him back for a second.
Let's just remind you that he exists.
So real. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I gave Aiden...
What if what if Valen's on the Black Swan? Just kidding.
He's a child.
He's
what if he's Mr. Forkel's other identity? with the way we're coming up with theories, like literally our identity theories at this point are getting to that.
Yeah. We're just like who's suspicious. We're like either Sophie's dad
or Mr. Forkel
or Mr. Forkel.
There might be triplets
He's on the never scene.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yesterday
he's probably faking everything. He's not even. He's just probably a human.
I was like, what if there's a triplet? What if there's a triplet Forkel? What if there's 9? What if they just keep pulling out spares?
I got body doubles back here. Like, I'll just pull out the next.
Like, Mr. Forkel dies again, and then they're like, oh, it's fine, guys.
Actually, there's more.
Actually, there's 9. Like a cat.
Oh my goodness.
No, he just keeps multiplying.
It's like
cloning himself.
Honestly, why haven't the elves developed cloning technology?
That's a good
I
point.
feel like they could.
I feel like they have. Have they? I
They
don't
should
know.
have.
Okay.
They probably would have a
Is this?
problem with doing it to living things, though. Because they're pretty,
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
be careful
Yeah.
with life.
Gisela
So,
would wait. Didn't she? She already messed with those things when she cloned them too. The
what?
things. The the monsters.
Oh, you're
The
so right.
babies.
I forgot about.
Whatever.
Wait, you're talking about
Yeah.
Vespera.
No, no, I'm talking about. Is it Vespera or is it Gisela?
Those creatures in Nightfall were Vesperas, I thought.
Doesn't Gisela? No, Gisela has trolls in this one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
Which
Okay.
I might have gotten
Anyway.
mixed up with ogres in one of my memes. So if you guys know the meme I'm talking about, I said trolls, not ogres. You're welcome. It's okay. Anyways, it's all the same. I pretend that whatever was happening with Ro whenever she decides to stage left in just a couple of chapters, we'll pretend that they were ogre allies, and that's what I was talking about. Anyways, back to the thing.
Okay. Yes. Unfortunately, we're average. We're on chapter 8. We've already used like half our time.
It's, fine.
It's fine.
We're on track for a
Okay.
part 1, part 2.
No, we're not because that would mean.
Anyways.
Well,
Yeah, we kind of are. We're 11%
'cause
through.
We're like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. No. Yeah. I don't know, man. Okay.
Anyways.
Then Adeline mentions they have a talk about Gisela being a conjurer.
Mm-hmm.
Blah blah blah. Then Sophie gets confronted by everybody.
Yeah.
Out
Again.
of nowhere.
Which,
Yeah.
like, I feel
Which
like
was
this has to
kinda
happen
fair.
every couple of chapters. They're like, Sophie, you aren't doing anything.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I just started charging towards the stone room, looking really angry.
What?
And then he like saw me in here and walked away, but he looked like he was about to come yell at me for so like it
The
was.
heart attack I would have
I don't
had.
know who he thought I was.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Anyways.
Focus. Anyways, this is quite the episode already, but it's fine. Okay. Sophie gets confronted by everybody. We were saying.
What page are you
Yep.
on?
I'm following the outline, which is chapter 9.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of flipping through chapter 9.
What page? Tell me when you do land on a page and I'll make sure I'm in the same place.
Okay. Okay. So, I think. Oh, Lynn brings up Glimmer,
Uh-huh.
and then they all go confront Glimmer. So
Yeah.
it's like everybody's mad at Sophie. Then Lynn brings up that actually we should be mad at Glimmer. Everybody goes to Glimmer.
Mm-hmm.
Glimmer and Tam. Interesting.
Yes. I have noticed that. They have
Yeah.
a bond. They do.
Yes, and I'm seeing some Biana and Dex more too.
I am.
So
Which
it
I'm
seems like
still
they're pairing off Tam.
Let me say, I'm still here for the Stina Dex enemies to lovers, but I respect the Biana and Dex. I
Yeah.
respect it.
Mm-hmm. Like that whole part where Biana's like, "I'm with Dex."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, I do have the coolest gadgets." I think when they go to Lysian. Yeah.
Yeah.
But doesn't Tam put his arm around Glimmer at some point?
Oh, really?
And stuff. Yeah, I think he does. I don't know exactly where, but I think it's after she admits her name. I want to say.
There's a point
That,
later
right?
in
I
this
feel like there is
series
one.
whenever I was listening to the audiobook while I was like riding with my my fiance Brooks, when I was riding with him like to his house, and he was forced to listen to it because it was just on the car radio. So that's gonna be like in my memory whenever we get to it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's funny.
He was not interested.
Interesting. I told I don't know if I should say his name. Have we said names on here before?
We
know
said
if we
siblings' names because siblings have been
Okay,
on
have
it.
we said boyfriends' names?
I don't know if you've
Anyway,
said yours. I'm fine with
I
saying
don't know
mine.
if I have. Okay. Well, anyway, my boyfriend I think I finally convinced him to listen to an audiobook.
Whoa.
So
There you
I
go.
said I should buy them, so you should listen. And he's like, "Well, I'll buy them for you." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Well, there you go.
Great. And
Good
he can
job.
listen too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Glimmer reveals her identity.
Yes. Which is
And
important later because we find out her dad is Binham. He's in Kenrick's Forgotten Secrets for some reason, so we'll talk about that when we get to it.
yep. Okay, Rainy. I feel like we talked about this before somewhere, but
Uh
Rainy is totally the kind of name that someone would use on the Keep the Lost Cities
huh.
in
Yeah.
a um
Like a role play.
in a role play. Like
Yeah.
it totally feels like that.
Yeah.
I'm Glimmer. Actually, my name's Rainy.
It
It's
really
cool,
does. Yeah.
but it really does. That's all I can
It yeah.
read when I see it.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so then Rainy talks about her trauma
Yeah.
and how her parents were matchmakers who altered their results.
Yeah, like Stina's.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So
remind me to circle
that's
back to this.
interesting.
The reason
Okay.
Kenrick went to Binham is important, but I'm going to circle back to this.
Okay. Okay.
I need to write that down.
I there's so much that happens, but I just don't have a lot of comments. I'm just like, okay, so that happened.
I
This happened
have
too.
I have comments at some specific notes.
Okay. Cool. Um. So then Glimmer proposes meeting with Trix, and everybody freaks out again.
Mhm.
Everybody, my notes are literally everybody argues and they decide stuff. Okay, at least Glimmer has a plan. Just saying. At least she's doing something.
Yeah, she's trying.
Yep. I'm flipping through. I don't think I have anything specific to say. Lynn and Tam being mad at each other is interesting.
Yeah. And I think part of that
Not
has
the
to do
turn I
with like
expected.
well, I feel like it makes sense like psychologically because like they were each other's like only friend. They didn't talk to anyone else. And now he's like found that with someone else kind of and she's probably like oh, okay, like
Yeah.
you don't care about me anymore. You hate me. And like
Yeah.
it makes sense in a psychological way, but also like I didn't see it coming. But I feel like I pay more attention to other characters, so it makes sense that I wouldn't be thinking about Lynn's reaction.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, so here we go, JC.
Okay.
12. Dex and Sophie go to visit.
Okay, hold on.
Or rally,
Wait.
however
Pause.
you want to say it.
What
Yes.
what page is this? Because I think we skipped something that I wrote.
Oh, for me, it's page 169.
Oh, okay. So around page 163, I actually do have a note about
Okay.
Morella and Fenton specifically, because I know that we had talked
Okay.
about that, and it was still on my mind, like the possibility of her being his kid for some reason. And I'm trying to
we
look
talk
at
about that?
why. Well, we talked about it in our last episode, and there's the short story at the end of this book. That's all about her and his interaction, which was interesting.
Fun fact, I actually haven't read the short story yet.
Because it's not in the audiobook, which I discovered and accidentally read it afterwards. So we might do a separate, I don't know, if we decide it's interesting enough or we have enough thoughts, we can do a separate little thing on it.
Sounds good.
But this is kind of what she says about it, which I thought was cool, good to read, good to note for now. So, someone, Sophie, pulled out the caches and she said, I took these from the Never Seen Storehouse. It's Fenton's and then also Kenrick's. And she said, maybe you can convince Fenton to open it for you. You've been getting along pretty
Also-
well with him, haven't you? What were you going to say?
It's wild to me that Sophie just pulls the caches out of
Yeah.
her pocket and is like,
Just
hey,
have these
guys,
with me.
yeah. Also, she left them in her pocket on the floor
Crazy. Oh my
and
goodness.
just went to
No
sleep.
anxiety.
And now we know Vespera can just get in her room
pop in.
anytime she
Yeah.
wants. Just pop in there. And Sophie's going
Oh my
around with
goodness.
caches in her pockets? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sophie is crazy for that.
Wild.
Me personally, But again, I need to have grace. She is what, like 15? Like
Yep.
I'm
Maybe
older
16.
than her now. Like of course I would have better judgment, but that's fine. I used to
I'm
be the
pretty
same
sure I
age. I
would
can't.
know
Yeah.
at 16, but
I mean that's Aiden.
it's got the world's most powerful elven secrets in my pocket.
Aiden would put it in his pocket, but he's a boy, so you know, who knows. We should have
Okay,
him on an
Morella and
episode again one day.
Morella and Fenton.
Okay,
Sorry.
yes. So Sophie says, maybe you can convince Fenton to open it for you. You've been getting along with him pretty well, haven't you? And she said, not that well. It's more of a let me teach you to master your fire so you can prove it's possible and lift the band on pyrokinesis kind of thing. Note on that. Ban on pyrokinesis, ban on certain abilities. That's going to be a theme. Continuing.
Mm-hmm.
Not a let me spill all my dark secrets relationship. Plus, he's pretty unstable, so it varies lesson by lesson. But she still took the catch and held it up to the light. Did the different colors mean something? And Sophie's
Just
like,
hold
guess
the
you'll have to find
catch
out.
up
Just like
in the
casually
middle.
tossing these around, like the
Let
things.
me hold it up
Oh
so
my goodness.
everyone
Oh my
in a
goodness.
50-mile radius can see.
Mm. Yes.
Anyway.
Okay. Ban on pyrokinesis. I'm gonna write that down on one of my notes. Anyways, that was my thought before this. And now let's get to the part that I cannot believe I forgot happened at all. Oh my goodness.
Okay. So I assume that means chapter 12.
It does, yes. So, Sydney, I need you to understand that I started this and I was like, Dex and Sophie visit orally? And then I scrolled and I was like, what? Because I was still in the print on my Kindle, actually, specifically for this chapter. And I was just like, what? I forgot this? So, yeah. Anyways. I had no memory of this. I was so excited. I was literally, it was like reading it for the first time, curled up in a ball, like squealing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. Would recommend waiting 2 years and going back to something like this. Okay.
Yeah.
So where's the first kind of, let me see, blah, 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 come inside. Sandor has to stay down here. Okay, this is just my curiosity. What was your thought on the whole, like, oh, Orly has the focus room, she's not wearing the pink ruffle things? I was like, of course, like, no one's gonna be, like, fancy all the time. But did that phase you at all?
Okay, this was my second time reading it. I think it fazed me a little, but only because it implies that I don't know. I thought maybe pink was calming for her, but it makes sense for her character. It makes sense for Sophie, or Orly being Sophie's mom.
Right.
I can't decide how to say her name.
Yeah.
But that's very Sophie of her.
Yeah.
And I mean, it just made sense in general that she would have something like that.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. When she like took off her.
Yeah, the like
skirt and
wraparound
stuff,
skirt.
I was like, okay, that's really cool.
I know. Okay. I kind of love it. But yeah, it made a lot more sense for like, okay, their personalities are a little bit more similar. Like she also feels more like a real person. And what was my other thought? Oh, it's okay. I'll find it again. I don't remember. But anyways, I thought it was funny. And the little similarities that Shannon is just like so lavishly throwing in now, like the eyelash thing or the like, no, Sandor, you can't come, toss his hair. And Rose like, whoa, like Dex is.
I will say, I'm kind of mad that Orally, I'm just gonna stick with Orly. Anyway,
Okay.
she never pulls out an eyelash before this because that would have been a great, just like.
Well, we all would have been like immediately.
We all would have known. I know, but maybe early in the series.
And
or
she
something.
says that she worked really hard to get rid of it, so it probably happened more before Sophie came. But anyways.
Imagine she just pulls out an eyelash in the middle of something and then everyone
in like
looks
book
at her
one, whenever she's in the three people in the council welcoming Sophie into the Lost Cities, we were just all like, well, I guess we know.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Anyways.
So she decides Dex can come, and Dex is just like, okay, sure. Okay. Where's the important
I do
part?
want to say, thought about the audiobooks and about this scene. I told JC this. I felt like when I read the scene, she was sassy, definitely. There are times where she's out of line. However, there were times that the audiobook would make her sassier. She would just say the most normal thing, and then the audiobook would make it come out like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Or something like that. And I was like, okay.
Like, she's not that mean. That's literally, oh my goodness. That's exactly how it feels like to interact with AI. I'll be like, say this silly. And it'll be like, hey, besties and girlfriends, and I'm like, it doesn't have to be that far. Calm down just a little. So.
That's funny. But yeah, she, like, listening to it, I was like, oh man, she sounds awful. And then I started to realize, oh, it's not her, it's the way the audiobook reads it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, I'm skimming to find the first important thing. I loved the mind map thing.
Me too.
So cool.
So, side note,
yes.
I think Shannon probably got this idea from different forms of novel plotting. Because I've used this thing, I want to say it's called a mind map. I'm pulling it up right now.
Oh, okay.
It's like a wave map. an app called Wavemaker, and I think I'm pulling it up
I know it's
that
used
it
in
calls
therapy too.
something. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Maybe that's it. But it felt very, very similar to this like one novel plotting thing I've used before, which I thought was
Uh-huh.
interesting.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, I'm checking. But you keep talking while I check.
Okay. So while she's checking, I'm looking at
It is. It's called Mind Maps. My Mind Maps.
huh.
Yep.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
And it works basically exactly how Orly's does, which is interesting. Pretty
Okay.
cool. If you
Oh,
want your own mind map, look up Wavemaker.
I'm like kind of like I was so curious how like if she was showing all of the mind map or if she could hide part of it because it
Mm.
didn't seem like she could hide part of it because Dex and Sophie were like, what's that, and she's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, that but like she had to have like things connected to Project Moonlark and herself and Sophie,
That's true.
and also like there were so many things that I was like, is she did she decide she couldn't have decided to edit part of it before they came there, so is
Mm.
there just part of it that she's not putting in there because
I feel
there's
like there's got to be some like passworded version.
maybe so, but she also
Maybe.
like she here uh Dex asks why his dad's name is crossed out on page 183, and she's like, oh,
Mm.
that's back when I was trying to figure out who was part of the Black Swan. Your father fit the
Mm.
profile. And Dex says, why? Because he's talentless. And she said, no, because he's known for expressing frustration with both the council and our laws, and there were certain anomalies with his registry feed, but she ended up crossing him out, and she doesn't land on the fact that it's actually his mom, but
What if Kessler's Forkle? Just kidding.
she does tell Mr. Forkle in book 5 that she has a bunch of theories as to his identity, but quote, this one feels
Mm.
right. And then he's just kind of like, anyways, like changes it whenever they're visiting Gethin, and I forgot about that. Um
Interesting.
that so like would she
Okay.
have that in the mind map? Like can Dex just see that she's theorizing all these, I don't know. I feel like, and Dex is
Hmm.
smart. I feel like he's going to be like the eyelash, the interest in the like depending on what he
Hmm.
could see. He's gonna come back and be like, Sophie, I figured something out.
Hmm.
Which would be so
Interesting.
interesting for Dex to be the one to figure it out.
Yeah.
Ah! Okay,
Yeah.
continuing, especially since I'm 99% sure Bront has, but that's a different episode's topic. Uh oh, Sydney, I can't hear you anymore. All
Okay.
right, you there?
Yep.
Cool. Um, so then, well, also they're asking how do I pronounce it? Elysian.
Yeah.
Okay, Dex. So she also didn't hide that. So she said something I'd hoped to just keep between Sophie and me. I'm so curious if she had anything in here. Anyways, Elysian. Okay, so then they eventually open the first forgotten secret
Let me
at
just
some
say the
point.
cash key being an eyelash. So interesting.
which also
How is
means
how does
which
Dex know
also
this?
means that Kenrick knew about her eyelash thing, which tracks.
Mm.
But that could have
Mm-hmm.
been one of the things he saw Sophie do, and he was like, "Bruh," like,
Yeah.
which means
Yeah.
that the other counselors probably knew about it because they didn't start liking each other until after they were on the council. Which makes me so
Mm-hmm.
curious how no one else is like, "Wait a second, oh, she's
Yep.
in deep water." Okay.
Yep.
Um.
Yep.
Uh. So when did
Kenrick's
they finally
hair
open the?
is kind of funny.
Dude. Yes, I died. Hold on. Okay, so she also mentions this is important vaguely. I wrote it down. She mentions that Kenrick specifically wanted them to open it together, which makes me curious
Mm-hmm.
how much he knew about what was in it because she says like he told me to give it to you, which means that I would need you to like bring it to me to open, but I
Yeah.
can open it. So, he did want them to work together. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't he just want her to know? Why does he specifically want
Mm-hmm.
Sophie to know? That's so dangerous. And also, did he know what was in there? Because we'll get to this in a second. But like,
He has to have some serious connections to the Black Swan because he wants
yeah,
Sophie involved, which means that he believes in Project Moonlark
yeah.
pretty much.
And it's a little bit more than just like, oh, I want you guys to work together because that's so dangerous. Like
Yeah.
for both of them. So, anyways,
Yeah.
it's good that she brought Dex along because that takes a little suspicion off. So they finally open the first one where Kendrick has long hair, like you mentioned, which is so funny that she. I love so much the little things
The
between
cringe
it.
Orly had to be having watching, like,
I
oh.
know, like, what is this? Ugh, why did he do that? And she even mentions later on, she's like, "Isn't that the ugliest like outfit you've ever seen?" Like, I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, let's see. So, of course, this is where they find out about the gnomish plague. Didn't seem super useful at this point in the series, but it does
Yeah,
kind of
that's true.
start off like, oh, Kenrick knew stuff, and like he probably would have
Mm-hmm.
been kind of guilty if he was around for that and knew that he didn't stop this plague, but also it was deleted from his mind. So it
Yeah.
like does have the point of like, oh, hey, I guess there's a point to deleting the memory, but also we would have known that the plague was coming and known to actually do preventative things, and it wouldn't have come out of nowhere if we hadn't deleted it. So,
So I guess the point, I was about to say, what's the point of this?
yeah,
Especially, they spend so much time, but I guess the point
it
is
shows the
caches
dichotomy.
are a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
shows the dichotomy of like we could have stopped the plague, but also like it might have still happened, and then maybe Kenrick broke, you know? Like
Mm-hmm.
the elves need a solution to their guilt, which I think is kind of part of
But wait,
Gisella's thing, writing that
didn't
down.
Bront not erase this from his mind?
Bront didn't erase it from his. Wait, that's a good question. I don't know.
I
Um,
don't think Bront
because Bront said I'm erasing
erased.
it from yours.
But
Um,
he says he'll remember because he'll remember that guy, the gnome. That's how he comforts
oh,
Kenrick. So then what was the point of this?
um,
Because Bront knew. Bront's around. Is it just because it's an elven cover up? I don't know.
maybe. I
I
don't
don't know. It's
know.
just an odd thing to
It
see in here.
is.
Unless it's just Shannon being like, okay, well, I gotta show some other stuff that's secret rather
Yeah.
than stuff directly related. But it's a long scene.
Gisela wants solution to guilt. I'm writing that down too.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's brought up at the end, like ruthlessness and all of that. But yeah, it is kind of random. It does also give, I mean, this is just a side note, but a perspective that Kenrick was on the council before Orly, which technically wasn't confirmed before this. So,
Yeah.
you know, for
It
whatever
gives
that's
us
worth.
yeah. It gives us a real sense of like the hard decisions counselors have to make
Yeah,
too.
I guess that's a good point.
It's a good I mean it serves purpose. I just wonder if there's any deeper purpose. We're not
Yeah.
I can't
Which I feel
see
like
it.
there should
I
be,
don't know.
but maybe we
Yeah.
don't know, or
Yeah.
maybe we're not
If
thinking
anyone
about it
has
enough.
any theories about why
Yeah.
this scene is in the book, let us know.
Honestly, all of these memories were kind of
Yeah.
like
Random.
I listen. I appreciate some of them, but like, what? What was it just for me? Like Shannon, thanks. Okay.
Yeah.
Um. Then okay, the next one is him just showing up and being like,
I
so I never. So essentially, what I'm getting is he never picked up a list or never registered because his name
mm,
isn't on Orly's list, so he never registered for the
mm-hmm.
match. Orly picked up all of her lists. So his name wasn't even in the pot to be put on her list. So he's saying, so like
That's
potentially,
interesting that she
hypothetically,
picked up all of them.
yes, it makes me wonder why. But
Like she
also,
wanted all of her
she wanted
options
to make
before
sure before
yeah.
she joined the council, which is kind of probably part of the reason now she was hesitant to step down because she was like,
Mm,
I ran out
it'd
every
be a
option,
bad match.
and that's a long way to fall. Counselor to bad match, and she clearly cares about her image, which we're gonna get to that in just a second. But oh my goodness, okay,
Yeah.
for him to like show up to Binham, who he probably knows has manipulated his own match lists, and be like, so like hypothetically, if I had registered and like she hadn't picked up any lists, like in theory, like would we have been? And then to see that they would have been number one, it shows
He's
the
such a simp.
yes, it shows the what's the word, like the arbitrariness of the matchmaking system,
Oh,
like, oh, this
totally.
person you
Yeah.
could have been the absolute best match in the world for, they just didn't put their name in the pot before you picked up your lists. So
Okay,
now you can't be with
hypothetically,
them.
hypothetically,
Yeah.
Kenrick couldn't have like no, because you can only register once. Okay, I'm thinking they were enemies previously, and then
Mhm.
now, I don't know. I was
This
surprised
memory
she
is
thought
definitely
that.
after she had been on the council
Oh yeah,
for a
yeah,
while
for
and
sure,
they
sure.
decided
Yeah.
they liked each other.
Oh yeah, totally. I was going down the route in my brain of, oh, is did their would their match lists have changed because they got to know each other better? And then I was like, that's not possible because you can only fill out the questionnaire once.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
so he just pulled from Orly's like registry, which was already there, and then like put in Kenrick's stuff.
okay,
But
playing devil's advocate though,
yeah.
hypothetically, if you made the match list, I definitely don't agree with this, but if you made it to where you can register many times to get tons and tons of lists, the match system did get it right. It put Orly as Kendrick's number one match,
I mean,
and
hey, it got it right a little late, but
a little late.
I
So the
feel like
only,
I
I
still
mean, the
feel like
only
it'd be a
things
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I guess what I'm saying is the only thing it proves is that they should have more lists. I
Yes.
don't know.
I
Yeah.
think it would be more efficient and just here's a list of your relatives, don't marry them. Okay, go pick
That's
somebody else.
a good point.
I feel
Yeah.
like that's the best idea.
But
Because that's the whole
JC, then you
point.
might have messy relationships and they're elves and we
Bruh.
can't have that. It has to be fair.
I. Okay, but now Kenrick and Orly are a bad match, and now he's dead because of that. This is genuinely stressing me out. I need you to understand. Like, I'm sure that somehow, no, because she realized that she liked Kenrick and was like, well, that's not an option because he's not on my match list, so I should get an excuse to stay, and then volunteered for the Black Swan. Like, that was probably part of it. Like, well, I've got nothing to lose, so like, I'm
I
stressed.
think
Okay.
I'm numb to Kenrick being dead because I've heard you say he's alive so many times that I'm
No,
just like,
I've done
well,
the
he
exact
is.
same thing. Like,
They'll be
like,
back
like
together at
he'll
some
be
point.
back.
Yeah.
I have a denial fan fiction to write, and it's gonna be good. Like, I actually did write a passage and was like actually freaking out, so that's gonna be a thing. But
Cool,
anyways,
cool.
no, I'm so excited. Okay, so the next
Okay, chapter 14.
memory. Oh, and he said that he would hope to help out with Binham. Like I think I'm a just person. I'll try to fight for you. So
Mm.
hopefully in his trial, Kenrick voted in favor of him. It sounded like Orly did
Wait,
too.
didn't they say he? Hold on, hold on. I thought they discussed this.
Orly said that she couldn't tell her. Like, Sophie said, well, did he vote in favor of Binham? And Orly said, I can't discuss that, but you should know that he was as fair and ethical as he always was. So, like,
Okay, okay,
probably. That's page 211. Like, probably, but,
gotcha.
like, technically she couldn't say, which is whatever.
Okay, got it.
But Binham saying, truthfully, I do understand why you need this answer, so I'll plug in the data for you. But she already collected
Mm.
5 of her list, no more can be issued. And he said, no need to worry about that. She'll never ask for one, with a smile that didn't match the sorrow in his eyes. But I appreciate the reminder of how futile this all is. Okay. I have like a full crisis every time I read this. And then Orly is like, what? Where's this going? And then she freaks out and like covers up the catch. And she's like, if you ever tell anyone, we'll all have to die. Um, but Kenrick was usually far more cautious when it came to these kinds of things. Hilarious thing to say, Orly. He did literally like hold your face in front of the council right before he died. But yeah, very cautious.
Sorry, I'm thinking about how he wanted them both to watch this together.
I
Imagine
know! He
dumping
wanted
your
Sophie to
darkest
be there.
secrets.
This is okay.
Dumping your darkest secrets in something.
Yeah.
And then saying, watch this.
After I die.
And I have no idea what's in here.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
But it's the
This
things I didn't want to remember.
this is the thing that's like he wanted Sophie and Orly to open it together. But like there was no warning about like, hey, like don't bring people around that you don't want to know that I illegally went to the matchmaker. Like he was just like, yeah, you can all watch this. That's a lot of trust.
Yeah. And we're assuming he had no idea what he put in here.
Right.
I don't
Again,
think that's
a lot of
necessarily
trust.
true.
Well,
Because he could have watched
yeah.
it at some point.
And
We don't know.
with the way that he is, like in these memories, I'm pretty sure he probably when he at least knew he was gonna die, he was like, I might as well watch it and like find out what happened. And still decided, like, yeah, I can give this to Orly. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
In his well, okay, that's a tangent. We should focus. So page 214 kills me.
And telepaths usually
Ah!
sex ass.
Well, that was after, yeah. I just thought it was adorable whenever Sophie's like, well, like, are you, like, I know it's none of my business, but, like, are you surprised, though? Like, bruh. And Orly's like, why do I have to talk about this? Like, it's obviously in the beginning of this, she said like that she had thought about opening it with Sophie sooner, but it sounded way too painful to watch like Kenrick be alive whenever she knew that he was dead, and that she was
Mhm.
shaking while she was saying it even then, and like, so then to see this on top of everything,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah.
emotions. And then Sophie's like, well, yeah, but I'm unmatchable, so, but Keith's alive, but I'm unmatchable, so I actually have the worst life. And then I don't really feel so bad about it.
She's
She's so
15.
much more patient than I am. I would literally just start laughing, like, okay.
That's true.
So yeah, she promises to keep the
I
secret.
won't be matched with anyone.
I
Sorry,
don't
I'm
be
sorry.
matched with anyone. I'm
I'm
unmatchable,
unmatchable, remember?
remember? Like,
Sophie,
oh,
get
that's
over
so
yourself.
hard. I'm sure Keith is gonna like just cry. He's gonna be so sad that you won't register. He cares a lot about his reputation.
Mhm. Yeah. Though, I mean, Fitz made her feel awful
Mm-hmm.
about that, which
So she does have like an
so it's
insecurity.
really
I
on
get
his
it.
fault. Yeah.
I get it. But girl, okay. I don't want to hear any more of this about after chapter 42. No more.
Real.
Okay. So then the next one is oh, it's yeah, it's Orly being like, "Yeah, you hate me. Why do you hate me?" Which is like, why did he erase this from his mind? Oh, I know why he
Because
erased
the
it.
very end, yeah.
Yeah, where he's like, there is this. It was Vespera, obviously, a prisoner that was gonna escape, and if she escapes, like, I'll probably break from guilt because I have to know that it was my fault. So glad he died before that because that. Sorry, Kendrick, everything you did was useless. Not really, but Vespera did escape, so that
Hmm.
stinks.
Yep.
Interesting thing. I don't know if Sophie actually put that together.
She
Um,
does.
and
How different things would be if Kenrick had done his job. Mr.
yeah,
Forger's twin would still be alive.
well, he did his best. He really did, but and that does
Yeah.
again bring in the like it caches are kind of a stupid way to store things because like he doesn't know all of the details of everything that he should know because we've locked all the secrets away and we can't just
Yeah.
open Emery's cache because Emery might know stuff but who knows. um I the way that he's like that they're like they hate each other but he's already like if you're a better empath I doubt you denounce my taste in everything. Anyways, oh my goodness. I texted Sydney this, but I would pay Shannon personally a lot of money to get a slow burn Coralie enemies to lovers because. But
I
anyways.
need to find you something similar. Like, make it my mission just read a bunch of books. It's like, okay, here, this is
Oh
really
my goodness,
similar.
please, please. I've been looking for years. The closest I can get, well, no, not really even that. Yeah. Yeah. I need to
Were you
write
gonna say
it.
Clone Wars?
No, but that one was good. That one
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
as good though because it wasn't as slow burn.
Yeah, I
I
guess
need
that's
it
true.
needs to be a very slow burn, and
Mm.
it would be really good. Okay. Oh, but I did read one fan fiction that was really, really good, and I'm still gonna send it to you, Sydney.
Cool.
Okay.
Sounds good. Okay.
Blah blah blah, and he,
I want to get to the Prentice memory. I want to talk about
yes,
that.
I think is that the next one?
Maybe. No, the next one is Fenton. Oh, I should be following this outline I made. Okay, yeah, 15 is Orly, Kenrick, and Fenton and the Nox Flares. So I guess this serves the purpose to introduce Nox Flares, make
Yeah,
them interesting,
which is also
and
Fenton's entire forgotten memory, but whatever.
yeah, yep.
Like
Um,
wow, burning flowers. I still even though like technically they did end up kind of being important, it was just like how are we supposed to guess burning flowers equals the god of the field coming out of the the portal hidden by the I don't I can't picture things, so I was really lost during the like,
I
yeah, the
it's
flowers
hard
had to
for
burn a
me to
different
picture
way
too.
to melt the door
Yeah.
and the light.
Like I'm glad they knew, but it's not like there are other book series. I think Harry Potter specifically does that. Like gives you all
Mhm.
the pieces so you can put it
Like you
together in a
could,
form.
yeah.
I feel like Shannon used to do that, and now it's left though. But maybe
We're
I'm
so
wrong.
deep
I
in
don't
the
know.
lore that it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, the Elysian god's gonna pop out of the hidden bushes behind the melted door whenever you burn the Nox flares with the right colors of fire, and
So are
and
we on the same page
and it's a
that this
person,
Elysian person has to be like,
like
he,
God, a deity.
yeah,
Yeah,
somehow
I think
it
it's some
has to
kind of
be.
deity, but who knows? It
Yeah.
could be a
Or
human.
my thought was like, based on some stuff Gisela says, the manifestation of the prime elements.
Which the prime elements are supposed to me, I got
Yeah.
the prime elements are supposed
It
to be
could
a
be the
deity.
Trinity.
Hey, that's what I was getting. That's what I was getting the
Right.
vibes of. I don't
Yeah.
know if
Yeah.
that's what I was getting.
The
I don't know. Or that could just be my reading, or I don't know. I think it
Yeah.
is supposed to be like a god of some kind.
I agree. Okay, I guess
Which
we'll
is
get
so
there
weird that
eventually.
like they
Yeah.
buried this secret and like made it where they couldn't go to Elysian. Like, I don't know.
Watch it be like some random girl. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's
Just
just gonna be like
kidding.
a human.
It's Snape's twin sister.
Oh my
Anyway.
goodness. I'll jump out a window. Another sibling twin lost
Another
in
secret
the
twin. Yep.
created by the
Okay.
Black Swan.
I've got about 20 minutes, so
Yeah. We're
we
about
should keep
halfway.
going.
We're almost halfway.
Yeah.
We're
But
a
I want to
third
talk
of the
about
way.
Prentice. Can we talk
Yes.
about Prentice? Okay. Where's next?
So, well, let me make sure we don't skip any of the other forgotten memories. So, the next
So
one
it's just
is
Knock Flares and then it's Kendrick and Prentice.
is it Kenrick and Prentice? No,
Yeah.
it's
Um,
we skipped Orly and Fenton and Kenrick.
that's what we're talking about.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Prentice one where it's just Kenrick and Prentice.
No, that's what we're talking about right now with the Knox Flares, right?
Oh, you're right. My bad. I was talking
Oh,
about
you're
that.
good.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, so Kenrick or not
Something,
Kenrick. Fenton is
something.
so hilariously unhinged in this. Stand back, you scare them. Like I
Yeah.
love it whenever like Gethin vibes when Gethin's just totally unhinged and like in love with his
Yeah.
sword. I did
It
find that
makes
funny.
you kind of pity Fenton just because he's like obsessed with flame
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that's true.
losing
And
his
that's
mind.
part of the thing that we're
He's
supposed to
like
be
a
like
dimension.
recognizing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
oh, if you have to suppress your ability, you're going to go crazy,
He
which we
kind
find
of.
out with Keith
Am I
too.
gonna get in trouble if I say this?
No, just say it.
I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna get in trouble.
Do you want me to pause the recording?
No, I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. But
Okay.
anyway, Fenton's like a dementia patient. I was gonna
Well, no, okay, but see, that's not bad, Sydney. Okay, no, you won't get in trouble.
That's not
But
what I
yeah,
was gonna
that's
say.
he. Oh, okay, never mind.
That's not it.
Okay, but yeah, he seems to be he seems like an actual old person, like a human old
Hmm.
person, where they are
Yeah.
like kind of starting to like lose it a little bit, and that's
Hmm.
interesting because like Elsa never died of old age, but that I mean we saw Fallon Backer
Hmm.
in Seven, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he was not there. So yeah, I
Hmm.
thought that was interesting how like they are still kind of showing like they're not showing physical age, but like mentally they're aging.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Um. Okay,
Yeah.
so Kenrick is hilarious. He's still my favorite. Oh my goodness. Um. Yes. So let's get to Prentice.
Yes. Okay. I'm pulling out my notes. I don't think there's anything interesting specifically in them.
Uh
Okay.
huh.
I have a note on that very first page of chapter 16 where I said, oh, okay. Were Kendrick and Prentice friends? Sophie asked, pretty sure she already knew the answer. Not that I
Uh
was aware
huh.
of, or Raleigh told her. If Kendrick was involved with the Black Swan, why didn't he tell them about Stellarlune or Elysium? That was my thought. Like, how
Oh.
involved was he? I don't know if we need to talk about that or not. But then on page 255, I have another note.
Mhm.
255, let me go there.
Well, let's also remember that back in the Everblaze time, like we were still just figuring out that there was a difference between the Black Swan and the Never Seen, and that it was like
Mm-hmm.
we didn't technically know it was that there was even a collective. So like
Mm-hmm.
Kenrick didn't know this either. This was before Sophie was even there.
Do we know Kendrick didn't know this for sure?
Well, technically, I mean, unless he's like Forkle,
Yeah.
which we've
Um,
discussed, but
yeah, hold on. I'm gonna pull up my discussion with you, like our text conversation,
about Kenrick and
um,
Forkle.
about Kendrick and Prentice.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like
My
why he
next
would have
note
known all
is
this
on,
stuff.
yeah, page 255, and for some reason I put, wait, let's talk about this, because Sophie says, and even if Prentice never actually worked with Kenrick, someone could have found out that Kenrick had made an offer. I'm trying to get back to the thoughts I was having
Okay.
about Kenrick and Prentice.
This is, yeah, and this is relevant to this. On page 248, she said, if Wiley was 3, wasn't Prentice already working with the Black Swan during this memory? And Orly said, I'm not sure that we know exactly when he swore fealty, but he might have been since he was arrested a few years later.
Wait, say that again? Sorry.
You're good. So on page 248, they're talking about, like, Kenrick and Prentice are talking about Wiley, and Sophie was like, so wouldn't he have already been working with the Black Swan since Wiley's, like, 3? And Orly said, we don't know exactly when he swore fealty, but he did get arrested a few years later, so he might have already been working with the Black Swan.
Okay. So are we assuming Prentice wasn't working with the Black Swan at this point?
We're assuming he was, because Orly and Sophie are saying that he was, yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. I'm looking for our text conversations because I'm trying to remember what my thought was. I think it was just, did Kenrick use Prentice? Do we think he actually did use Prentice as a keeper or not?
I have to assume he did because Sophie has that symbol at the end of the cache, which was from Kenrick, which was implanted in her mind.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I mean, technically could have been, I don't know. I'm loading. So if Kenrick wasn't, like, directly involved with the Black Swan, then it could have been, like, a situation where he was, like, feeding things to Prentice, and Prentice was like, yeah, I don't remember, and then he was turning around and going to Forkle and being like, yo, so, like, we have this now.
Yep. Okay, I found our conversation. Wait. I did. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. I know that a lot of it was me, like, trying to figure out if Kenrick could be Forkle, which I'm not opposed to.
Here's what I said. I said, what watcher did Kenrick call to wipe Aurali's memory after seeing the Lysian Creek place?
I assumed that was just a standard washer.
Does it matter? I just thought it was odd that it included the washer coming and his face being blurred. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because you're right, because Orly said that's the standard procedure is for them to be drugged so there's a clean edge to the memory. But she wasn't. Yeah.
And we see
he was wearing
Sophie
an Adler.
Because Sophie says, who's that? And she's like, I don't know. I think.
Yeah, but usually they're unconscious because we saw Kenrick, like Bront and Kenrick, whenever it was like a standard procedure when Bront like drugged him and all of that. Dude, okay.
It's interesting. That
was me putting my pen down. I have feelings. I have scared feelings about the way Kenrick was just like, I'll erase your memory myself illegally. He's scaring me and I don't like it. Whenever, like, sorry, the memory that was in Orly's catch that we see the beginning of whenever they're interrogating Fenton, and then it starts that part and Orly's like, we'll skip this part. We don't need to watch that. Don't ask. But where he just, like, at the end is like, I'm erasing your memory myself. That's so suspicious, which means the whole thing with him interrogating Fenton wasn't actually council business. It was just kind of his personal little errand. Makes sense that Fenton wants to kill him now, but, like, so I don't like it. How did
Kenrick erase Benham's memory?
I assume illegally too. Yes, because
why did he even bring someone with an Adler?
You know, Sydney, I don't know. Listen, I'm having a crisis because this is not, because even when Sophie and Orly are watching the memory in Unlocked, she's like, wow, I wonder, like, how he erased this memory without people finding out. And Orly's like, yeah, he would never, like, breach my trust like that. And then he does, like, 5 seconds later, and she's just like, oh, guess I get to know that now.
Okay, sorry, I'm still thinking about the Adler thing and
I'm
the
so
washers.
Scared.
And also, okay, but at the end of 265, I know we're jumping, but my brain was on that track.
You're apologize. Good. I'm gonna follow.
This feels weird, okay? At the very end of chapter 16.
Is this still Prentice and Kenrick?
No, I'm jumping ahead to I'm connecting this to the Prentice and Kenrick thing.
Okay.
So we have Prentice and Kenrick talking. And
Mm-hmm.
then we have this odd thing where O'Reilly asked a bunch of questions he ignored. That must be the visitor I can't remember, the real O'Reilly said when someone knocked on the door a
Oh,
few
this is
minutes
after the
later.
next memory.
Yes.
Okay.
Sophie held her breath as Kenrick went to answer, silently pleading for it to be someone important. But when the figure strode into the room, their face was a blur. Sophie blinked and rubbed her eyes. Why can't we see who it is? I think they're wearing an Adler. And then the memory ends after O'Reilly explains the Adler. I just don't
Uh-huh.
understand why the Adler would be there.
Yeah.
Like, why that
Well,
little
he
crypt?
just is not following what he's supposed to do to wipe the memories, and I think that is super suspicious. And I Kenrick, he's doing something. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's Black Swan, never seen Mr. Forkle. I don't know, but I don't trust it, and I don't feel good about it, and I'm scared. I'm scared,
Yeah.
Sydney. I don't want him to be
I
bad.
I think I'm willing to bet money. He and Prentice did form an alliance.
Yeah.
That's Prentice coming into the room.
Oh yeah,
Prentice has
yeah.
Kenrick's secrets buried in his mind, and we're gonna find them. That's my thought,
That's what I
and
hope.
I'm going with that because
I
the
hope he's
Adler thing
not bad.
is weird,
No.
and we're gonna find out more. I don't know how Kenrick was involved with the Black Swan, but I do think he was heavily involved with Prentice, and I do think he and Prentice tried their thing, and we're gonna find out more. Okay, I think that's my thing I
That's
was
a good
wanting to
theory.
get to. Yep. Because okay, hold on. Amuse me for a second. Why would Shannon put in the whole end of the memory thing where it's just a guy coming in with an Adler and Sophie's like, "Who's
No,
that?"
you're
And
totally right. It's very weird. It's very out of the way that the memories have been working. Like it is something that
yeah,
we're supposed to latch on to. And I think
yeah.
you're right. I
Because why
think it
else
is
would it be?
Prentice.
Yep.
But
I just think it's
I'm
wild
so
that.
scared right now.
And then Sophie brings up I don't usually care about Prentice, honestly, but I just found it
I'm
so
listen.
suspicious.
I care about Kendrick.
Um
Go on.
yeah. Um it reminded here's a quote on page 249. It reminded Sophie of one of the mysteries surrounding Prentice's arrest that she'd completely forgotten about. Why Prentice had called Swan Song.
Yeah.
Why did Prentice call Swan Song? It definitely has to have to do with something to do with Kenrick.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's connected, but we need
You're
to
so right.
dissect
Kenrick
all of
told him
this.
something. Sorry, I'm gonna pour my coffee really quick.
It could it be something because isn't the whole thing why did he call
What if?
Swan Song? Why didn't he explain why he was calling Swan Song?
Yeah. I I
I
still
don't know.
side
I
with
need to go
Orly
back
on
and
the
look
why
at this.
wouldn't you have told her when she would remember? Cuz
Told
that
her what?
that he knew like about her Black Swan stuff.
Mm.
I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it would have made their lives a lot easier.
Yeah.
Like
Maybe it's just too dangerous. I
well,
don't
and
know.
she probably would
I
have
don't know.
I don't know. But
Could Kenrick, just a random thought, could Kenrick have unintentionally been involved in the Never Scene at some point and
that's
then
what I'm
maybe kind of
freaking
like
out
Jolie
about
did?
right now.
Because didn't Jolie accidentally get involved in the Never Scene?
Kinda. I mean, through Brant and whatever.
But she thought they were good for a little bit and then ended up
Yeah, she was
being
confused
double
and
agent.
I don't
We haven't
know.
seen her in a while or heard from her or anything.
I
I
need you to
don't.
understand I'm like actively having a crisis.
Could he have
Wasn't there like a
been?
whole
JC,
thing
what if
with there was
Kenrick started the Never Scene? Just kidding.
I'm hanging up on you?
No, but actually, if the Never Scene was like the original Black Swan,
No, it
how
wasn't.
did how were they formed?
Gisela.
I'm just spitballing.
Vespera.
I don't know
It
what
was
I'm saying.
Vespera. That's
Was
why
it?
he put her in jail. He did his best.
Was it Vespera?
I Sydney, I don't know. It wasn't Kenrick.
Even if he was unintentionally a part of a bad organization, we can forgive him. That's why he looks like a villain. He had the long hair.
Stop. He didn't look like a villain.
Sorry, I started choking again.
It's okay. I'm like,
Okay.
I had
Okay, let
another
me say
thought.
it.
It was actually something important, and I don't
Okay,
remember, but maybe I
hold on.
will.
I just saw this quote. Kenrick was dead. Prentice's memories are gone, and nothing would ever change that. I think something will. I think Prentice's memories are gonna come back, and they're gonna have to do with Kenrick, and that's why Shannon put this in there, and that's why it says this.
I listen. Yes, I agree. And also, I just want to go on record saying I've known that Kenrick and Orly have been important from book one. I read book one, and
Yeah,
Sydney's like,
yeah.
"What did you think about Keith?" And I was like, "He's cool, but I love Orly and Kenrick." And you were like, "Who?" All I'm saying is that I was right.
Hmm.
Returning to Crisis.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'm like, okay,
I'm gonna go an apprentice deep dive after this.
yeah.
I'm about to go
I
read
still have to do
Exile.
my Tarek deep dive, so hopefully that's
Okay.
gonna be an episode in the future
We can do
if
our
I find
second.
anything cool.
I literally have two people. I'm just gonna say two people I
Mm-hmm.
never actually cared about, which is horrible of me. Is Prentice and Jolie. Like I
Yeah,
was like, okay, whatever.
like they're
They're
there. Of
they're
course, they would end
gone.
up being important. Yeah,
Yeah, but
and
I never
Kenrick.
actually cared about much about what happened to them or where
Yeah,
they were or
yeah.
anything.
That's
I was like,
me
okay,
either.
they're plot
Yeah,
devices.
they have to
Yeah,
be. That's the
but now
backstory.
I'm interested. Now I'm
Yeah,
interested. I'm gonna look at this
I
now.
guess it all happened for a reason.
Yep. Yep.
Um.
Okay.
So
What do I have?
Kenrick also takes her to Elysian, which we may need to
Yes.
stop after we finish
Totally need to
Kenrick's
stop now. Yep.
memories. Um. But yeah, he takes her to Elysian, and she's like,
Oh man,
"Wow,
we
it's."
didn't get to my rant about
I
football. Okay.
know, but we'll get to start the next thing with that, which is a really good start.
Yes. Okay.
Um. But anyways, yeah, there's like special butterflies or whatever. This is oh my goodness. All I can think about when I read this is that one fan fiction that I read about them, and it fits in so perfectly with the emotional turmoil of what's happening in the story, and I love it. But okay, so in in Unlocked, I wanted to compare the way that she describes it as feeling empty. So can you find right here while they're in Elysian when Kenrick's like, doesn't it like feel empty? And then she says it does. Can you find that while I find it in Unlocked?
Yes. Yes.
Because I feel like that's super coincidental that things would be described as feeling empty in that similar of a way. And Keith's mom is clearly interested in this, and she also made his ability do a certain thing. And
Okay, but they don't say it feels empty. They
what does
say
she
it feels
say?
aware.
Aware.
So I'll read it. Um, Please, Aura, I need your help. Um, I do feel
Okay.
something, but I don't know how how to describe it. It's almost as if this meadow has a mood. A mood, Kendrick repeated, nodding slowly. That sounds about right. I feel it too, but the only word I could come up with for the sensation was awareness. What does that mean? Sophie asked. And why does it sound so creepy? Dex added. I don't know, O'Reilly told them, but it really does. Um, Oh, and then Pastor Rowley seemed far less shaken. I've heard stories, she told Kenrick as she turned to scan the meadow, that there are certain rare forms of energy that can mess with our senses. Perhaps one of them is here, and that's what we're both picking up. It's possible, but what energy? I can't find any source, can you? Perhaps it's the water? And then that's really all they say about that. Okay, you're totally right. It's messing with their emotions,
Yeah.
messing with their
Which
senses,
is a
exactly like
similar
Keith's
kind of
ability, which feels obvious, but
yeah.
that's a good point.
And I found the description, so it's unlocked 577.
Okay.
And Orly and Alina have just come into the room, and it's like at the healing center, I guess. I'm trying to remember the
Mm-hmm.
full context, but Alina says, or Ellen said, "How much did you see?" And Orly said, "Not much." And then Alina said, "But enough. We arrived right before he gave the command that brought you all out of whatever strange trance he'd put you in." And Sophie's like, "It wasn't a trance. I was conscious. I just couldn't." And she trails off, and Fitz finishes and says, "Feel." And
Mm.
he looks a little pale. And Orly shivers and says, "I've never experienced anything like that numbness." And Ellen asked, "Oh, you could sense it?" And she says, "Yes, there was a strange emptiness in the air, and when he snapped you out of it, the deluge of emotion felt like it was drowning me." It's kind of similar, kind of
Okay.
strange. It's, yeah.
Did you want to look at the very end of? I mean, we're not supposed to skip ahead, but I'm gonna look.
Oh, yeah, and see
What
when they go
the
there.
very end? Yeah. When they go there, but also, well, where is this chapter? Where's the end of the book? Where's the end of the book? Oh, um, what's happening? Keith asked, stumbling back and staring at his hands. I can't feel
Mm-hmm.
anything.
Mm-hmm.
It honestly
That's what
is.
it was.
Someone reached into her head and flicked off a switch, shutting everything down. Her rage cooled, her power ebbed, her vision cleared.
That's exactly what my mind latched onto. And I was like, oh, you know what that sounds like? When Keith made everybody numb and unlocked.
Mm,
That's
that's
what
a
it was.
good connection. Yeah. I kind of forgot about. I need to reread. I think my next project is look at Prentice, reread Legacy, reread Unlocked. Honestly, probably
Legacy and
between
Unlocked I've
now
got.
and this next part. Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Okay.
Yeah, those two I've got. It's 6 and 7 I don't.
Mm.
But that's okay. Sometimes, like, I was skimming 7 for memes, and I was like, oh my goodness, Alina interrupted Alden's wedding. I totally forgot. That's so funny.
That's true. Oh gosh.
I laughed out loud and couldn't explain it to anyone around me. It was tragic. So the
Yeah.
last thing that I want to mention, just so we can kind of close the chapter on Kenrick's memories and move into the Forkle stuff, before
Yep.
we have to stop part one, is that the last thing in his cache was just a symbol, some kind of squigglies. I don't know. I don't have the patience to read visual descriptions. Anything interesting about it, Sydney?
It's a map.
Okay,
That's all.
a map. And Sophie's like, oh, that's in my memory. The Black Swan planted that in my mind. Which is, it's
Mm-hmm.
Kenrick's forgotten secret. So that means one of two things. One, Kenrick was very
Oh,
involved with the Black
yeah.
Swan, said, I'll dump that to them. Or Sydney's theory is right, which I'm very much in favor of. I agree with you completely. He gave that to Prentice, maybe put it in his cache as well.
Yep.
And Prentice was like, hey, Mr. Forkle, guess what I have? And Mr. Forkle either found it in his mind or whatever.
Here's what I don't get is why Forkle doesn't know about it, which makes me think Prentice put it in Sophie's mind and
Oh.
didn't tell Forkle
How? But I thought
about what
Mr.
this
Forkle
is.
only knew how to implant things in her. And he was, no, because Prentice was
I don't
arrested
know.
way before Sophie was ever, like, conceived.
But I thought Forkle. Sophie brings up Elysian, and Forkle's like, I don't know anything about that.
He
I
could
don't
be
care. It's not important.
lying.
I'm
Maybe
so
Mr. Forkle started the
confused.
Never Seen.
Maybe. No, but okay, we totally have to talk about that because that's
Mm-hmm.
why I was freaking out about Prentice because I was like, was he involved in Project Moonlark? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
because he was. I don't know this timeline at all, but he
Yeah.
was gone before Sophie. I guess that's right.
Yeah.
But then how does Sophie have this in her mind? And Prentice is like, oh well, whatever.
Kenrick,
I don't
I
care.
listen.
Sorry,
Kenrick
Forkle's
could be
like, I don't
Forkle.
care, whatever. No, because Forkle's lying.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. You're right because
No.
he would know about Elysian then, or Elysian or
Yeah,
whatever.
because I want to say he literally is just like I don't know what that is.
Or he could just
And
be a party pooper.
and he keeps I'm gonna talk so much about this, but he keeps shutting Sophie down.
Yeah. Which I didn't even
Bro!
catch on to as much as you did, and I think that has to do with the audiobook, like,
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
because I was probably
Yeah.
still reading the
I
print
think
book at this point.
I think it's partly that, and then also just I was paying a lot more attention to how Sophie kind of takes control, and this time around I was like, okay, this is good. This is what we
Mm-hmm.
need more than I was the first time, and I was like, okay, she's right. Follow what she's saying. She's right. And then Forkle comes in, and he's like, actually, she doesn't know anything. Elysian isn't important. Go to school, you child.
Oh my
And I was
goodness.
like,
Like,
bro. Okay. Yeah, but I'm gonna look at all of this between now and the next part, because I've got to think about Prentice and that map and what is going on with Purple.
Yes. And while we're on timelines, I just want to interject for anyone who's actually listening this far and who listened to our last episode. And when we were like, could Kenrick be Sophie's dad? No, he can't. And we worked out reasons for that. And maybe I'll release that in like a mini episode, like I did with that one random Tiergan rant or whatever. So, we talked about it. Just wanted to stick that in there.
Oh,
We rediscovered
also,
our original reasons.
I want to point out, oh yeah. I want to point out that everything we talked about in this episode happened over the course of 2 days.
Oh yeah, in Cindy's timeline, she wrote out day 1, day 2. We were like what 300 pages in,
Yep,
and it's still just day 2.
yep. But then, part 2, we're going to cover days 3 through 23.
That's crazy. So an
yeah.
hour and a half of our podcast is devoted to 2 days, and then probably an hour and a half to 2 hours will be devoted to 23
Yes.
days.
Yes.
That's
Do you wanna record
crazy.
tomorrow?
I think I can, yeah.
Record tomorrow.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to this. Hopefully it was entertaining. I definitely feel like we got more into the flow of it as it went on. It's
I agree.
crazy to get back to
I
it.
think our next one is gonna.
It's gonna be
The
the beginning of the book is really slow. I mean, it's 2 days, so.
Yeah.
But then of course we got into Orly, and that's more fun to talk about. And
then we
Kenrick.
get to get into Keith Foster and theory.
I know.
Excited.
The Keith Foster is really what we're here for, but that comes later.
Stick around for part 2.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Forbidden Cities podcast. Leave us a review and tell a friend about the podcast if you liked us. Email us with comments and episode suggestions at theforbiddencitiespodcast@gmail.com. And to follow us on Instagram, just search @Forbidden Cities Podcast.